Okay, and then I've got to go share screen. And give me 1 second here, folks. Get this going. Okay, and share. Okay, can you see the group page now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so thanks for joining us today. My name's Tim Cook with the West DFW REI Group. Today we're going to talk about Realeflow, and I'm going to show you what that is and why I'm excited about it. And then at the end, you'll have an opportunity to get involved in this fantastic tool. Realeflow is what they call a customer relations management database, a CRM, that's designed specifically for real estate investors and realtors as well. And I've been on this tool for 11 plus years. The one thing I want to make clear is that I do not work for Realeflow. I'm a user and a lover of the tool. It's a very, very powerful tool. And I just think that I'm going to show you some things that I think will drive my point home that the more people on it, the more we can all benefit using it, especially in our local market here. So, and I'll show you why that is. So going down through here, here's what we're going to attempt to cover today, all these different things. And some of the changes, for example, 1,000 leads a day, you can now extend that up to 5,000 leads a day, and that's downloading from the tool. And then we'll cover all these things, but then we're going to also touch on some of these new features here that are available in Realeflow as well, and how you can use them and benefit from them. And then we're going to go ahead and just jump into it and show you all these different things because there's a whole lot of stuff to this. Let me get this video out of the way here. Too many menus and bars and stuff. Can you see my Realeflow page now, Pam?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure I didn't have to re-share it. Okay, so this is what Realeflow looks like. This is what I would call your desktop or your back office area. But this is what it looks like, and the area. I want to show you how some basic stuff here. Up here, any place you're at in the tool, if you click on the Realeflow icon here, it will take you back to this page right here. This is your home page. As a new customer, when you come in here, you notice that you have these videos in here, and you can come in here and click play. This is kind of an orientation type of series of videos, and you see the 6 dots here. You want to click on each one of these to come through and watch each of these different videos. Okay, these will help you get set up. If you decide to subscribe to Realeflow, one of the benefits to you is that you'll get my getting started day one video, which is going to show you what I recommend you do for setup, which is going to deviate just a little bit from what Realeflow does. I'm going to show you a lot of things, that tips and tricks on how I use it in my business and Realeflow, they show you the capabilities and stuff, but I'm going to show you the how-to kind of thing. That's part of the subscription if you decide to subscribe to it. Today, there's no way we can get into every little function and capability and show you in great detail how it works, but it's in my intent to show you as much as possible about the overall capability and why I like this tool so much. So moving on here, here's your menu right here, these three little bars. You know, that will open and close the menu like you see right there, okay? Coming across the top here, you have a plus sign. You can add a phone call, a property, a contact. You can click on favorites. You can assign favorites that you're working on. You can come over here and see the notifications. So if you have a red dot there, it'll tell you that you have a new notification here that you haven't looked at yet. And then up here in this drop-down menu is the profile settings and billing settings and that kind of stuff. So you'll want to, one of the first things you'll want to do as a new user is come in here and go through all the profile settings and complete it. It's important if you don't complete certain things in here that it's going to limit or prevent you from using some of the functionality with power matching later. And I'll point those things out as we go through. So just go through here and complete that. And my video, how to get started video, is going to show you some of that stuff to begin with. Okay. Then coming down through here, you have all these different icons here and links. So the first one is properties. So when you click on properties, it's going to give you a list view of all the different properties that you have in your system. And you have all kinds of different statuses and stages, and these are all filters. This is a gigantic database that allows you to sift and sort in any way that you need to look at things. So that's what all these different things are up here. We use tags extensively to really narrow down the focus. So if I wanted to track my buyers in Weatherford, we are able to do that with tags. If we wanted to do it via DFW, we can do that. If we wanted to track people that didn't give us an email address, we can do that for follow-up. I mean, you can track this stuff in any detail, any way you want to do that using tags in these other menus up here. Okay, you can search within the properties here. So if you're trying to find a property, you know the address. Actually, you can do it up here. It's better here. It's a global search, so it checks everything. And it works a lot better to do it that way. Then coming back here to your menu again, you have your contacts. And the thing that I like about the contacts functionality in Realeflow is that you can build your buyers list by any way that you want to, not just throw all your contacts, your buyers into your Outlook or Gmail and blast it out to everybody. So you can come in here and you can categorize by the type. Notice here we have contact type, and you can choose commercial, investor, landlord, turnkey landlord, lease option, owner finance, rehabber, renter, and retail. So you can do that for buyers. You can categorize them as a seller, and then you have other, and you can not only choose some of these others that are in here, but you can create new ones as well. Okay. So you have a lot of capability to sift and sort the contacts that you have. So if you are building a owner finance list, you can categorize them as owner finance. So when it's time to send a property lead out to your owner that you're willing to owner finance, then you can send it to just owner finance buyers and not to your whole list. Same thing with landlords. If you had a property that would be more suited to a landlord vice a rehabber, then you can narrow it down and send it out to just those people. The other thing is that we really like about it is under the preferences, you can select the type of properties, single family, condo, multifamily, duplex, triplex, apartments, all this stuff. You can categorize them that way if you want to. But the important part here is that we can pick cities. And this is important so that you are only sending stuff out to people that want properties in that area. I get properties all the time from all over the country. I don't want that stuff, but people they think because you're an investor, they just blast it out to you. And, I don't like that. And after 20 years in the business, when I first started, I didn't mind it so much because I was hungry for a deal. 20 years later, though, I just don't have time for that. I don't want to deal with those kind of emails that are not and deals that are not coming to me for my area. So this is important to me. We can break it down. We have buyers in this case, Brock, Hudson Oaks, Weatherford, Willow Park, and those, whenever we have a property in these cities, these people will get because it's identified in their buyer's profile. This is a powerful piece. We hope to add some, Realeflow is hoping to add some additional capability to this in their next update later this year. We'll see if that happens. But you have a lot of different things you can track. You can link properties to a particular buyer. If it was an investor buyer and you've done business with them before, you can connect those properties right here. If they're renters, you can connect family information. You have custom fields you can create. Here's the tags that we were talking about earlier. So if I wanted to send a general marketing email out to everybody in DFW, I can do that right here. Okay. Some of you may have seen those emails from me in the past, but we can do that by these tags. This particular person, we probably would want to come in here and add Texas too, because they are in Texas. So if I had something I wanted to send out to the entire state of Texas, I could do it by this tag. Okay. So very powerful system of the way the contacts work in here. Because they're in the system, we can also, as long as you have an email address, okay. Now this one here is a phone number in here. Okay, here's the email. So this was a demo account. This is one of my emails. So I can come in here and I can send email to this contact by clicking on email. Okay. I can also come in here and click on Autoresponders, and it'll give you the history of every autoresponder that's ever been sent out to that particular email address. And it'll give you the status. So if it's on like this, step 2 of 10, then it'll show you that. If they unsubscribe, it'll show you that in here as well. So that's pretty powerful as well. And you have some other, you can put in documents here, and we'll get into power matching a little bit later. I won't do that right now. One of the most powerful things about this tool is power matching. So listen closely when I get to that point, start talking about that. Okay, lead flow. So within lead flow, you have these different categories. You have websites. So within Realeflow, you can have up to 99 different websites attached to your profile here in Realeflow. When you go to set up a new one, so right now I just have this one. When you go to set up a new one, they have a simple, easy way of walking through the whole process, and you can buy a domain name through Realeflow, or you can buy your own domain elsewhere and bring it to Realeflow. And then you now have the option of picking all your new websites that are WordPress sites. So any of you that know anything about WordPress, it's a very, very powerful system, highly editable. You can change a lot of things to your satisfaction in it, but they have all the templates for you. I don't remember how many templates they have right now since they switched to WordPress recently, but in the past they had over 100 different templates that you could choose from for motivated sellers. You had ugly house, pretty house, you had pre-foreclosure, probate, things like that. You have buyers list, so you could specifically have a buyer's page to build your buyers list with. That's what my tradecashforhouses.com is. Things like that. You could have a renter's page. They're specifically designed for quick and easy setup, and then you can go in and edit them the way you want. The other cool thing about each of these sites is they all have autoresponders built into them and attached to them. So an email autoresponder is, and I'm sure you've all seen it before, where somebody will say, for more information, enter your email here, and then you'll receive a series of emails. Well, that's what it is. So in this case, Realeflow has built the autoresponders for you for buyers and sellers, and they have them for pre-foreclosure, probate, so on and so forth. So you can go in there and just tailor those the way you want them done. You can add an image to it, you can add a video, you can edit the text. So it makes it very quick and easy for you to get set up and running very quickly. The other piece of this that makes it so powerful is that whenever somebody comes into your website and submits their information, it shows up automatically back here in your properties page, properties list. That's how they get in here, or you can manually enter them by pressing the create button here, or they come in, they show up in the contacts page. Okay. So either place, they come in through your web pages, they add a property if it's a seller, or if it's a buyer, and they just submit their contact information, then it shows up in here. Okay. Very, very powerful, streamlined. I like it because it's a system. I should have said that at the beginning, that's why I use this, is it's a system that I can log into and manage my business from anywhere that I have internet access. My iPad, my iPhone, I can do it anywhere as long as I have internet access. Okay, any questions from anyone so far? Okay, moving on here. So then you have the next, so we just talked about websites. The next thing is direct mail. So you can actually do a mail campaign from within Realeflow, and you can create your own list. Bring your list into Realeflow and import it, or you can do it with a list that's provided to you by Realeflow. For many of you being here in Dallas, Fort Worth, you have a great advantage in that Real Estate IQ has a list available to us with a subscription. You can get those lists. We can provide you a promo code that'll save you 40%, or you can use the leads that come to you in Realeflow. There's a couple leads that in particular that you don't want to use in Realeflow. One is their pre-foreclosure, and the other one is it's a paid list, and that's probate. You don't need to do that. You can get that through Real Estate IQ. The benefit to the Real Estate IQ leads is that they're fresh leads. They are pulled directly from the county records, and you get them very quickly within 1 to 3 days, I guess is what you can expect. So they're very, very fresh leads. The leads coming from Realeflow are a little delayed, and with text, especially with pre-foreclosures, you need to be able to get on them immediately. So I don't recommend using the Realeflow pre-foreclosure leads. The other leads are just fine in there, okay? But in here, again, no matter which way you go, as far as how you get your list, you can just walk through the steps here and just set up a campaign in no time at all. I mean, within a few clicks. They have all of the marketing material, all the postcards and letters built into this system. I'm not going to get in here because we don't have enough time to walk through each step when we have so much other stuff to cover. But you can just go through here, filter and sort out the type of lead that you're looking for, and then they will present the marketing material. If you're trying to market to renters, they have a renter's postcard series. If you're marketing to pre-foreclosure, they have pre-foreclosure cards or probate cards. So you just have to walk through that process. They've got it all done for you. The other thing you can do is you can either customize one on the spot. They give you a blank card that you can customize it, or you can even create your own card and send it to them and have them upload it right in your system. They'll do that for you as well. So they've got it all covered. Probably the other big benefit to you right now is that you probably all know that the Postal Service just raised their rates. Realeflow at this point has not raised their rates. So you can mail postcards as cheap as 35 cents. Okay. That's the cheapest postage. That's up your list. That's your postcard, printing, and postage, 35 cents a piece. To my knowledge, there's nothing cheaper out there. So separate from direct mail is personally penned mail. So they actually have a little computer generated handwritten letters that you can go through and select and use that as well. So instead of doing postcards, these cost you more. I think they're $1.50 or 60 something a piece. So they're a little more, but some people like using the letters more so than postcards. So you have some choices there. And I highly recommend that you consider that. I personally like postcards, always have, but that's what I use. By the way, if you notice some of the older dates and stuff in here, this is my training account. So this is not my live, my real account that we use on a daily basis. Okay, Mobi messaging. So Realeflow has its own text messaging and voice messaging system built into it. Very powerful. It is kind of antiquated, and they are planning on doing some updates to it, but it's very powerful in that this is a way that you can have people opt into your text messaging system. If you don't know, you can get some very stiff fines if you are spamming people via text, and you get reported and busted for it. It can cost you up to $25,000 a day. So you have to be very careful at making sure that your text messaging is through the opt-in. And that's what Realeflow wants to do, is they want to protect you. So they have a very protective system to do that. But you can create all kinds of marketing with text messages for those that opt in. And you can also do voice messaging to those people. And you can also do voice and text messaging of your properties for sale. So if you have a property for sale or rent, you can actually set up text codes that will opt them in. That you put the numbers on a sign at the house. They dial and text that number. They get a voice recorded message. They get a map via text, and they get pictures, the property details via text when they opt into that number. And it's very powerful. And then it all comes into the system, and you'll be able to come back here to the contacts and see with this little bubble here, notice that says opted to mobile. That's exactly what that means, is that they opted in using one of the phone number and text messages that I created. And that's how it shows you who has opted into your account. And those people, you can then come up here and check their names, and you can say text message or voice message right here from this list. Okay. So very, very powerful tool. Just another way of being able to communicate with the contacts on your list. Okay. So that was text messaging. Okay, opt-in forms, you have opt-in forms that they provide you that you can use on third-party sites. So I know a lot of people are Carrot users. You can take these forms, the code, they give you the code that you can go insert that onto a third-party site such as Investor Carrot. And when somebody fills out that information on this third-party site, it dumps their contact, their property information into your Realeflow account. That, again, this is a system. So, I personally want everything going into Realeflow that we can make go to Realeflow. Doesn't work with all sites, but I want as much in Realeflow as possible so that I have one place to go to. Okay. So that's what that's about. Marketing library. You can come in here. They give you all these different postcards and letters and brochures. You can come in here and download them. They're in Microsoft Word format. You can download these and edit them the way you want and use them if you'd like to, or you can also use them in your marketing business with Realeflow. And then coming down here to Lead Pipes Premium. Lead Pipes is their leads, and they have for the basic version of Realeflow, I believe you get 10 or 11 different types of leads. If you upgrade, a one-time upgrade to their premium leads, I believe it's 17 or 18 different types of leads that you get in Realeflow. And those leads are nationwide across the country. Okay. They have all kinds of leads, and you can sift and sort and filter these leads in so many different ways. And the only one lead that is extra above and beyond is the probate leads. But as I mentioned earlier, you don't need to go to Realeflow for that. You're better off, in my opinion, to use the local source because they're so fresh, and we can get you a 40% discount off those leads if you are interested in purchasing those. So you have property leads and you have people leads. So if you're trying to market for cash buyers or private lenders, then you would want to go market to the the people leads. In the property leads though, you can come in here, put in a zip code, pick it. You can come in here and choose absentee owners. You can choose individual, trust, and I'm going to say just single family, and then search. And once you get in here, it's going to give you all this information about those properties. You can click on it, go see the public records information about each of those properties. You have all these different filters and stuff up here. The one thing that's new with Realeflow is the artificial intelligence, AI leads. This is, and I'm not in my account to show you this, but this is a very, very powerful system where what they're doing is they're scoring the leads from a scale of 1 to 1,000 on the leads that have the most likelihood or propensity to sell within the next 90 days. That's what the AI score system is all about. So they're scoring them based on potential retail sale, wholesale, and rental. And the higher the score, the more likely, based on some factors, the more likely they are to sell. So for example, if you clicked on a lead that maybe they just bought their house last month, they're probably at a 1 because they just purchased the home and they have no intent or need to sell. But if they have owned the home for 10 years, maybe there was a death in the family, that kind of stuff is public information. And based on any other public info factors, and I believe there's like several hundred criteria that they run it through their fancy logarithms to come up with this scoring process. But if they come up with a score of 7, 8, 900, then they're going to be an increased chance and more likely to be wanting to sell their home within 90 days. Okay, that's what it's all about. So what they're trying to do is narrow down your focus on where to spend your marketing budget. So instead of going out and blasting, like I searched on 76108, that would cost you a lot more money to choose every address in 76108. In this case, I chose absentee owner, and that comes up to 2,316 names. But if we were, and again, I'm not in my account, so I can't show you what happens. But if we chose the AI score of 700 or 800, what you'd see is this list, this 2,300 is going to drop down to maybe 100 or less even. And what that does is, instead of you marketing to 2,300 and throwing away a lot of money, you're going to be able to do more marketing over a longer period of time or more frequently to that 100 and have increased the likelihood of being able to pick up a deal from that. So that's what the AI scoring is all about. Notice though, you have all kinds of other filters here that you can use to narrow down the list, because you probably don't want to mail to all 2,300 names. So you want to go through all of this. You see there's all kinds of different categories here that you can filter this list down so that you're going specifically after the people that you're really trying to buy houses from. So that's what the lead pipes system is all about. And then you can come up here and you can start your direct mail campaign. As you select these, then you can start your direct mail campaign. You can save the property to your account. You can do direct mail right there. You can download it. You can skip trace it. 10 cents per lead to go skip trace from within Realeflow. I believe that that's one of the cheaper rates, if not the cheapest rate going for skip tracing of leads. But that's very convenient too, that it's right in the account. Okay. So very, very powerful system. Again, I like it because of the fact that it is a system and everything works together. Okay. Then you come in here, moving on down, we click on the Analyze button. By the way, was there any questions on lead pipes? Anybody at all before we move on? No? Okay. So under the Analyze button, you have a Deal Analyzer, you have a Repair Estimator, and you have a Rehab Planner. So you go through the Deal Analyzer, and there's a lot of Deal Analyzer tools out there. As a member, a VIP member, a paid member of the group, you have a deal analyzer provided to you from Real Estate IQ to help you analyze those deals. Realeflow has one too, and actually they have two different versions. They have a simple one-page form, and they have a more detailed two-page form. You would want to go through those, learn how to use those, and see which one works best for you. There's so many different ways to analyze these deals. So it's a matter of what works for you, what you like, the way it looks, and so forth. Then you have a repair estimator. Now, the repair estimator is designed for you to put together your estimate to go with your bid, your offer to the seller. So you can show them that this is a rough estimate of what you plan to do with the house and to help you justify your offer price to the seller. When you are done with that, once you get your offer accepted, then you can come back here and choose, come back here and choose the Rehab Planner. Now the Rehab Planner is a much more detailed planner in that it connects to the Home Depot SKU numbers. So I'm not, I don't come in here and use this very often because we have a rehabber that does all of our planning for us. Well, I'm obviously doing it wrong. So, yeah, we have a rehab contractor that we use that does all of our rehabs for us. But you can come in here and there's a view that I'm not finding right now that will show you all the different SKU numbers and stuff for each item at Home Depot. And you can give that information to your contractors to go out and buy that stuff that you want to have in that house. So it's a pretty cool tool. Apologize, I kind of blew that in the demo, but that's what the Rehab Planner is all about. Financing, Realeflow now offers hard money loans. You can come in here and get pre-approved. We have a great hard money lender right in our group with Ryan Blake at Longhorn Investments. So check them out. But this is another part of the system. It's built right in to Realeflow. Okay. Communication. So you have email, autoresponders, and internal messaging. So email is pretty self-explanatory. You go back to that contact list view that I told you about, or you can do it from within a seller's contact or a buyer's contact and click on email and send an email. You can do it to a bulk group of people, like using the DFW example I told you about earlier. Then you can send out a bulk email, or you can just do it on an individual basis, okay? Autoresponders, remember I was telling you that there's autoresponders connected to each website that you have. In my account, I think we have like 11 different websites or something like that. But you can also customize and create your own autoresponders for anything you want. So if we have a new autoresponder series, email series that we want to send out to sellers about, you know, the upcoming foreclosure moratoriums being lifted, we could go create that autoresponder series and it would be in here and it would automatically go out on whatever schedule that you want it to go out on. The system tracks everything. Here's the different emails that are in this particular autoresponder series. starting from day 0, which is the day they sign up, all the way to 45 days out. And then you can see how many were sent, how many's opened, how many clicked. And you can come in here and edit each one of these the way you want it to be edited. It'll tell you how many, what the addresses were that were sent. And then if there's unsubscribes and bounces, okay? All that information is shown to you right here, okay? So it's a new tracking system, and it's better than the old system that we had. It's kind of like your constant contact and eye contact kind of, get response kind of things. It doesn't have as much flexibility and capability as those, but it's similar to that. Now, internal messaging. Here's one of the very, very, very powerful pieces of Realeflow. We are now connected with 200,000 back here on the notes here. We're networked with over 200,000 users with Realeflow now across the US and Canada. I mentioned earlier that this is one of the most powerful CRMs in the country, and that's one of the reasons why. It's been around a long time. There's a lot of folks using this, and the internal messages are the people that are using Realeflow that have buyers and houses that are a match to who's on your list in some way. So what I mean by that is, remember I was telling you how you set up your buyers list. It's all done by city and state for each of those buyers. So just to be clear there, for me, for example, I have multiple profiles for all over DFW in Texas. So I get a lot of matches to properties because of all those cities that I have in my profile. Okay. So I'm going to take this one here just as an example. I happen to know that this particular property is in Fort Worth, and I received this power match from the investor because I have a city of Fort Worth, Texas in my profile. I have a lot of them because of other buyers too, but I get that lead from this person because their house city matches my buyer's profile, city of Fort Worth. Okay. So the system matches them up with every Realeflow user like me that has a buyer city that matches the house. So this particular case, it pops up and says they have a power match plus, indicates that you have buyers that match my property. So I am the buyer in this case, and she has a house for sale. She goes on to say it's a 4.2 at a great price. There's a lot of room for good profit. And here's the link to this property. Okay. So they show you the link. Notice it's in Fort Worth. This is a new investor, so they didn't fill out the contact information correctly. And remember what I was telling you earlier is that it's very important that you fill out your profile correctly and you learn how to do these power matches. That's what this is called. And that's a part of my training video to you if you decide to subscribe to Realeflow. Okay. And this person, I can't reach out to them. I can't call them. I can't email them because their information's not here. They also didn't put a price on here. Okay. They also didn't fill out the property description here. So I don't know anything about it other than these details. Okay. So that's one of the benefits of working with me and learning how to use this tool properly. Then you come on down here, they got their name. And here's the cool part. I can go click on the view matching buyers. So what that's going to do is Realeflow is now searching my entire database. Again, this is this is my training account, so there's not a lot of buyers in here. But notice what the system did. It went out and pulled all these people that have the city of Fort Worth, Texas in their buyer's profile. So now I can come up here with one click. It's going to highlight all those people. This process usually takes a couple seconds. Yep. So you see they're all checked now. And then you can come up here. Now I could have filtered them first. So let's show you what happens there. I'm going to uncheck them all. And remember, we were talking about the type of buyers: rehabbers, landlords, turnkey landlords, so on and so forth, right? So that's what you get to choose from up here when you click filters. So if we just say investor, and now it refilters the list based on the filter that you use. I don't use these filters, and I'll tell you that in a training another time why that is. But now we're going to select everybody that is categorized in my list as an investor, and we're going to come over here and click send email. So now we come up here and put your name in it, whoever you want it to say it's from. And now it's got a boilerplate template here with a link. Now, what you don't want to do is just use this boilerplate. Realeflow creates this as a starting point for you to make it quick and simple, but don't just leave it, because there's more details that need to be said. Marketing is important to you as an investor. You need to create an interesting marketing piece that's going to get people's attention so that they buy the house and you get it sold quickly. So you don't want to just take this boilerplate, because that's pretty boring. Now watch what happens when I take this link here. I'm going to open a new tab. Now, notice right here, I want more info. The reason that they do that is, you know, this investor sent me this Fort Worth property, and I have the ability to now market this to my buyers list. This list right here that I showed you back before this. Let me just cancel this. So, you know, I can send this investor's property to my list right here. Now, I only want to do that if I have an option agreement and equitable interest in this property, right? And I don't want to send this directly to all these people and have them go around me, right? You don't want to do that. You want to have a way to be in the middle to get paid. And this is how Realeflow controls it. Is that button right there. Notice it did have contact information in there, or supposed to have. She didn't, because she didn't do it right. But when somebody clicks on this, I want more info, the potential buyer that I sent it to, it's going to come back to me, and it's going to say, you have a potential buyer interested in this property. And now I can reach out to the sender, that investor that sent it to me. I can reach out to them and see if we can strike a deal and get it shown and get this deal finalized and get it sold. But Realeflow is protecting you so that the investor that sent me this property is not communicating directly with my buyers list. Okay, that's the powerful piece about this, and this goes on all across the country. So this investor that sent this, the Grace House, I assume that's supposed to be an R, Grace Home Developers, she may not live here, or he may not live here. They may be in Alaska somewhere. But I received the property, the internal message that we started at back here. I received this internal message here because they had a house in Fort Worth, and I have a lot of buyers in Fort Worth that caused me to receive that. Okay, it was a match. It's a match on the city and state of the property and the buyers. So let's take another one. So this one, so this person didn't put a link in this, which is the wrong way to do it, but this property is in Houston, Texas. Okay. So that I have people from Houston on my buyers list. This property is from Houston. So Realeflow matched my buyer and this property, and therefore I got the internal message from another buyer. Another seller, another Realeflow seller, if you had the property, if you had a property, you were virtual wholesaling here in Texas, and you had found a property in California, you can do the same thing. Naturally, you want to build your list as big as you can and send it to your personal list, right? Because that's where you're going to make the money. You don't have to pay anybody else. But if you didn't have a buyer on your list from California, you could use the community buyers match, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute. That's how this is generated, these internal messages. This is not an email, but an internal communications between Realeflow users. And this is a super powerful thing because you can communicate. You could have no buyers on your list anywhere because you just signed up on Realeflow, but you could sell a property all around the country. Remember, there's 200,000 users that are using Realeflow. And if they have built a big buyers list correctly, that's a key, is if they're building their list correctly, then they can have a lot of matches of the seller's properties with the city and state in there, and then the match on the buyers with the city and state. And that's key. Got to have city and state in the system for those buyer profiles. So I know I've said a lot and it may get a little confusing, but who's got questions on what I just covered? You can go ahead and unmute yourself. We just have a small crowd here. Do you see what the power is in this power match? The internal messaging? Anyone? Come on now.
Yeah, I can see the benefits in that.
Okay. Let me show it to you from a different perspective. So I'm just going to take this example property, and let's say I bought this and I'm ready to get it sold. Okay. What you have to do is you want to come in here. Remember that previous one, the girl did not have all the information in the system. Well, she didn't have a property description. Notice right here, there's nothing here. And I'm just going to put test in here just so you can see it. And then on the listing, you got to put the price. Remember, she didn't have a price, right? So notice here, listing information on sale. So I'm just going to put 100,000. Okay. So that's in there. And naturally, you don't want to, that property description, you want to have good amount of detail about that property. So when you're all done, you're going to come over here, and when it says publish the website, you want to go here first, because remember, she didn't have a name, a phone number, or an email on there. So that's where this information has to go so that it displays on the web page, and you can go proofread it first before you send it just by clicking on the link right here. So I'm just going to copy and paste. I'm going to go show you what that looks like. Remember I said 100,000, so there's where the price goes. Remember I put test in the property description, but you would have wanted to write out everything, why it's the best thing since sliced bread and why you should buy that property. And then here's all the contact information I put in there. Okay. So you want to make sure those things are done first. You want to proofread it, make sure it's correct. And then you come back here and you make sure you hit save. And then you go to Power Match. This is the powerful piece about Realeflow, okay? Power Match just took the system that, remember this property's in Fort Worth, right? Fort Worth, Texas. It matched it against all these buyers that have Fort Worth, Texas in the system, in their profile. And now I can go through that process again, choose filters, and I can send my property. In this case, it's me sending it to my buyers, which is always your first choice. Okay. Notice it says my buyers right here. Okay. Now, what if you're brand new, you put this house under contract today, when you bring up Power Match, your my buyers section is blank. It has nothing there. It can be kind of hard to sell it to your buyers. So the next thing is you want the community buyers. Remember I said we're networked now with 200,000 Realeflow users across the US and Canada, 200,000. This has grown drastically. They were, last I knew, about 135,000. So they have really blown it up. So now I'm going to click on community buyers. Now, you're going to find a lot more people in here. Now, these are only Realeflow users that have Fort Worth buyers in their system. Okay? Fort Worth buyers in their system. Okay? Not abbreviated, not FT Worth, it's Fort Worth. Okay? It's got to be just like that for the match. So this is how many it shows you, total matches. Okay? This is how many these people have. Now, these people with the higher numbers in here, these are people that I trained, like this one, like this one, like this one. Some of you may know Michael. He's pretty active in the business. Guess who that is? That's me. So I have 2,500 buyers in my Realeflow account that have Fort Worth as one of the cities they want to buy at or in, okay? All these other people here, if they were building their list correctly, they'd have a lot more than this. It's just a matter they're not building their buyers' profiles correctly, okay? So this will tell you, if you remember in the scenario, you just got in the business, you just opened up your account with Realeflow and you bought this house, it's under contract, you want to sell it, you had no buyers on your buyers list, but community buyers, you can now send it out to these Realeflow users. Again, you can do the same filters for investors. Remember, they may not all be categorizing their buyers list the same way you do. But let's just see what happens when we click investor. So you'll probably see this link list will shrink some. I'm not sure if it did. So then now when I choose all, I can send a message to the Realeflow user. we're going to these companies here. We're not going to the buyers themselves. We're not going to these numbers that we have right here. We're going to these owners, these Realeflow users. These are the investors that you are sending the message to. And when they respond, remember when they send that email out to their buyers, it's going to have that I want more info button on it so that their buyer can go back to them and say, hey, I'm interested in trying to buy that house. And when they do that, then that other Realeflow user reaches out to you and talks to you about getting it shown, how do you get it shown, how you get access to it, and then getting that deal done for you. So I hope that makes sense, but this is super powerful because you can go from having 0 buyers to being a hero and getting a house sold quickly because, you have this tool called Realeflow and the community buyers match capability. Okay. Very, very powerful. Very powerful. Okay. So remember I was telling you earlier about how people have to opt into Mobi in order to get on your text and voice messaging system. Notice the words right here. But well, this is similar. This is for Think Realty, but you can do this same thing for Mobi. Sorry, I didn't want to confuse you. That's a Think Realty text, but you can actually do that same type of thing to drive traffic into your Mobi number to get people to opt in. Very powerful way of helping you build your buyers list. Again, you don't want to send this message out the way it is, in my opinion. I think you should customize it and make it sound real and beef it up so that the investor understands what you're trying to do and what the real deal is about this particular lead that you're trying to sell. Okay, any questions on what you just saw? I mean, this is powerful. I have, again, if you decide to subscribe to Realeflow, I have a video on just power matching and how to go prepare for it and how to maximize its use. But it's a very, very powerful tool to help you move your deals quickly. Anybody have a question on it? Was that good? Was it helpful? Do you see the value?
Yeah, it was helpful. I got no questions.
Okay. Anyone else? Everybody else I put to sleep, I guess.
No, it's very helpful.
Okay. Well, it is a very, very powerful tool. So, let me go back to this internal messaging screen for just a second. So keep in mind that, this internal messages is coming from the 200,000 users across the country, but only from those that has a property in a city and state of at least one buyer on your list in that same city and state. Okay. So one of my recommendations for new users is when you get your own account set up, you go set up multiple profiles for you. You can have 10 cities in each profile that you have. We're hoping to expand that, but it's not there yet. So if you went in and created one profile for you, that's 10 cities. If you went in and created 10 profiles, that's 100 cities. So if you wanted to maximize the leads that you received inside the internal messages from other Realeflow users around the country, then go in and create 10 or 15 or 20 profiles so that their internal messages, their power match that they're sending out, you're going to receive more leads because you have all these cities from your buyers in your account. And you'll see the value of that when you start adding more buyers and they each get 10 cities or more in their profiles. then that really starts multiplying. And if you have people coming in and joining from California, Alaska, Florida, if you're interested in doing investing nationwide or in multiple states, Florida, Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, then the more buyers from those states that you get added to your Realeflow account, the more internal messages you're going to receive and the more properties that you're able to possibly get a deal with, strike an option agreement, marketing agreement with those investors to sell their properties to your buyers list. Okay, that's another way to leverage all this. Realeflow really allows you to leverage your list with someone else's property. That's what this internal messaging is all about. Okay, manage. Under manage, you have a Scrum Board, which is a management tool of visibility of what's going on in your business. I'll show you that in a second. Then you have documents, you have power linking and calendar and tasks. So we don't use the calendar because I don't use Google Calendar. If you're using Google Calendar, you can connect your Realeflow account with your Google Calendar to track all your appointments. So we don't do that, but it can be done. Tasks are great because if you're trying to do follow-ups with a seller, they say, oh man, I just listed my house, or my house listing expires in 30 days, call me back. Or I'm going on vacation and be back in 2 weeks, call me back. Well, you can go create a task to help you follow up on those leads and track them all within Realeflow. Okay, so very helpful there. Power linking allows you to extend your business to other people without really giving them access into your business. So what I mean by that is, let's say you had a virtual assistant that is making phone calls for you off a list. Well, you could power link that VA and connect her to certain properties that you want her to call on. And when she calls, she can log in and have access to that property and make those notes for that property. Okay. Or another example would be, I'm in Weatherford. I get a lead from Terrell and I don't want to go to Terrell. I could have a partner, an investor, a bird dog, whatever I want to call them, over in Terrell. I could create a PowerLink account for them. They could go visit the seller. They could go call them. They could make the notes in Realeflow for that one property when I give them that PowerLink capability. So it's extending the access to your business without giving them full access to everything. You're able to control exactly what they get access to. So a very, very powerful tool, very helpful if you have any assistance doing things for you. Documents, you can upload all kinds of documents for history purposes, a contract, a disclosure, any of that kind of stuff, audio files, video, you can do all that in the documents and it stays with that property, okay? Scrum Board I like. A lot of people don't realize what a Scrum Board is. It's a systems engineering term. And what this does is it gives you a quick overview of what's going on in your business if you're keeping it current. You can change the titles of these headings here on all these. And what we do is if we get a new property in, we can say add to Scrum Board and it shows up here. And then when you come in here, you can drag and drop it to any of these areas, but the next thing we'll do is evaluate and set up an appointment. Once you go see it, offers in work or it's pending and it's ready to close on the purchase, under contract and rehabbing, and then ready to close and sell. So that's just the titles that we gave it. We can make these titles anything you want, but you can drag these around and move them all over the place, and just gives you a quick visibility, a quick snapshot of where you're at in your business today, as long as you're keeping it current. Okay, pretty cool tool. It's a great management tool. Courses. So Realeflow offers, they have 6 different courses available for sale. These do not come with the course. If you have purchased them, they will show up in this tab. For those of you that may subscribe to Realeflow through the offer that we have on our group site, there's 2 of these courses that you get included in your purchase. That is the private lending system, very detailed course on how to do private lending. And then the other one is the Facebook marketing. May be able to get a different one if you were interested. Some people have asked for the wholesaling, but the Facebook marketing one, a lot of people like that because of today's social media marketing stuff. It's a good course, and those 2 do come with the purchase, with the offer that we have in our group site. So knowledge base, they have a very detailed knowledge base, and they have live support. They're based out of Ohio on Eastern time. So, but they do a good job on their support. They have a ton of knowledge base articles as well as video in here. And also they do a lot of live training. Let me see if I can get back to the homepage. They do a lot of live training, and you can schedule. So here's another thing you want to do is schedule your walkthrough with them to get a live person to help you walk through and set things up. That's another thing that they've implemented. Again, that's a little bit different than my setup that I do, but I give you the video for on that. I'm missing the schedule, but I think they must send the email out for you to attend their training, but they hold training on the system frequently. And then they also have a rewards program where you can sign up and get a 2% cash back with Home Depot. We use the Think Realty program. If you haven't already signed up through the group, it's a free account, and you can save a lot more money than just getting 2% cash back through the Think Realty system. So that's why we do that. We choose to use the Think Realty discount. Here's the email and the phone number for their live support. And they can usually get you squared away pretty quickly. And you can also do a support request through their chat system as well, which I don't care to do. I like the phone or the email. Okay, so I covered a whole bunch of stuff, and we are now at an hour and 15 minutes. So what kind of questions do we have for you, or do you have for me?
So for brand new people that's starting into the real estate game, into flipping, would you recommend this right away, or would you recommend this after 1 or 2 flips?
So really good question. Who was that, Rodney?
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Rodney. I get a lot of questions like that. I'm going to say that's really going to depend on you and how your mind works, and of course, can you afford it? If money's kind of tight, you don't need this today. Okay. You don't need it today. If you're the systems kind of guy, you're an organizational freak and you want things organized, and for a fact you're going to blow up your business and it's going to take off, then you might do it, but you don't need it from day one. I'd say the same thing. People ask me all the time about, well, I got to go get my LLC or corporation set up. Well, you don't need that to go do your first deal. Go make some money first and then implement these other tools. if you had limited money, you've already done one of the smart things, Rodney. You joined as a member of the group. And as a member of that group, you also have those other tools. You've got your comps tool now, you got your deal analyzer tool, and you got your repair estimator tool. Those are very important tools. Not saying these aren't important tools in Realeflow, but you have spent a little bit of money for education and tools access. And if you put that all to work and go make some money with it, then you can add additional tools. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
But, you know, the other thing that they took it right out of here. They did have Zillow comps, but I know they're reworking that tool. But I wanted to tell you that you know, their comps tool was just Zillow. It wasn't valid for us. Okay, but if you're already a member of the group, you get MLS comps as part of your membership. You know, that's the tool you need to be able to pull comps. These other free tools out there, they're nice to have as extra data points, but they aren't the tools to be making decisions on as far as value goes, because it's not true MLS data. You need to have the real deal in order to determine true value of those properties. So over here, I want to show you back on the home page, down here under the products list. If you come down here, here is the subscription, the deal that we have for anybody interested in buying Realeflow. This is the cheapest thing going across the country. You will not find a cheaper deal than this anywhere in the country. And the reason I was able to strike this deal with Realeflow is because I do a lot for them with troubleshooting and submitting the recommendations for improvement and things like that. I spent a lot of time with them, and I've been with them 11 plus years, as I mentioned earlier. So they gave me a really sweet deal for you. The normal price is $1,500 a year. It just went up to $125 a month. Okay. You get it for $900. That comes to $75 a month. You will not find that deal anywhere in the country. You get the two bonuses I told you about. You get those two, the Facebook marketing masterclass and the private lending system. That is included. Nobody else in the country gets those courses included in their purchase of Realeflow. I would highly recommend you come in here and watch this short video about Realeflow and how to get started and stuff, and see what you think of it. It is a 1-year subscription. You cannot pay for it monthly. I may be able to do payments with you, a couple payments if that helps you, but it is a annual subscription. It's not, you're not obligated beyond 1 year. I'm just saying that you can't pay for it by the month. In order to get this special price, you have to pay for it up front. So anyhow, what kind of questions do you have? The fact that
do you have any issues with the autoresponder hitting spam boxes, or does it seem to work around that?
Well, you know, because I don't really know, I mean, there's no way of knowing for sure if it's getting to everybody or not. I mean, there is no such thing as a guarantee when you're sending email, right? You just don't know. I know a lot of people get it because people do comment. So I don't know if anybody is not getting it unless somebody complains about it, you know, or ask a question or something. But we use it an awful lot. We use it we put all of our pre-foreclosure leads in the foreclosure autoresponder. We put all of our probate leads in our probate autoresponder. The buyers list, we have a lot of investor buyers signing up on our tradecashforhouses.com. And if you're not already on that list, I would encourage you to go to tradecashhouses.com. And that, when you submit your information there, that'll add you to our buyers list, and that buyers list autoresponder, and you'll get a bunch of tips and tricks and things like that. And it also ensures that you're on the buyers list, and we need to know it's going to ask you for cities or zip codes. Make sure you fill that out and check the boxes for them, and then you'll receive properties from us as well. So, but unless somebody, if I'm talking to somebody and say, I'm sending this to you, and then they call back and say, hey, I never got that, I don't really know if there's a problem with it or not. I know I test it myself and I get them. I put my name on everything and pretend I'm a buyer or a seller. So, and I would encourage you to do that same thing, is always test, never assume what you're putting out is working. Having
That makes sense.
Having said that, I'm going to say this right now. I discovered that the autoresponder for new members, such as you, Brodney, we discovered that the autoresponder is not going out when a new member signs up in the group. And, that's not a spam issue, but the system is not sending the autoresponder. So we have support working on that to find out. But the way we found out is testing. So we run tests all the time just to make sure that what we think is going out is. What else?
That makes sense.
So on the autoresponders, again, just to kind of summarize on that, you get a bunch of them already pre-built. Every website template that you get with Realeflow comes with pre-built autoresponders in place. All you have to do is tweak them or edit them, add to them if you want. You can change the number of days and when they go out. You can add images, video, all that stuff. And you can create custom autoresponders. And I hate to say it, but I didn't even know you could do the custom ones until 5 or 6 years ago. But now we have a lot of custom autoresponders. And once you build it, it's a lot of work getting it set up, but once it's done, then it works all the time for you 24/7. So that's the great thing about that system. Any other investor website system out there, you got to go build all that stuff. Realeflow, it comes with it. So. Anything else, anybody? Okay. Well, I think I'm pretty much done then. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. I know it was a short notice announcement to go do this. In the future, I'm going to start doing probably a more frequent one that will be a paid event that will start getting into training specifically on particular features that will help you make money. And we'll go in and focus on 1 or 2 different features, how to do it, how to set it up, how to test it, how to, fine tune it to make sure that it does work. This is a powerful tool, but it's, you've heard the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. It's a database, and, software programs and databases work off data, and darn computers are so fussy. If you're 1 letter off, 1 digit off, that's incorrect, or you miss 1 field, they may not produce the end result that you're looking for. So it's very important that you learn what those particular fields are that have to be done a certain way in order to maximize your efforts and your business. You need to have the buyers list. You want that as big as you can. You need those cities in there. You need them spelled correctly. And you need to prepare the property listing correctly so that it looks good and it's correct for the viewers on the other end that you're trying to sell it to. And there's a lot of things like that I've learned over the years, some tips and tricks to be on the lookout for to maximize your efforts in making money using Realeflow. So that's why I'm doing these classes. If it didn't have the power match function to it, I may not be so excited about trying to teach it all the time, because power match can allow us to all make more money when it's done correctly, when the system is used correctly. And a lot of people don't use it correctly. So, okay, anything else? By the way, you might wonder about this guy's kind of cocky wearing a shirt that says awesome, but I might be awesome. But if you go up here and look at the website for Realeflow, notice the domain name is awesome@realeflow.com. So that's what they call it, is awesome. All righty. Anything else, anyone? If not, look forward to seeing you in the near future. Next meeting, watch for a survey. I'm sending a survey out later on today to talk about some different options on possibly going back to physical meetings. So be sure and respond to that survey for us to help us decide what we're going to do going forward.
All right, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All righty. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. Stay safe out there.
You too.